It's kind of small though.
Yeah, there we go.
That's okay? Uh-oh.
Okay, you're on.
Hi, it's John Licata with Licata Group Real Estate, LicataLive, and we have our guest, the owner of Summit Mortgage,
Michael Lee?
Michael Lee. How you doing, Michael?
Good, how you doing?
Thanks for coming today.
Great day.
Always a great day to be with Michael Lee.
It's always good to be John Licata.
And LicataLive. So a couple things before we get started. First of all, this weekend, if you're looking for something to do, and I think we're going to have a rainy few days. It's supposed to be a really nice weekend. And Orange, downtown Orange, so we're in Orange County. Orange County has a city of Orange, and the downtown Orange is blocked off on Saturday from 9 to 4, and there'll be hundreds of artisans, food trucks, just tons of folks. There'll be 3,000 people there lining the streets. It's loads of fun. You should come to that. You won't regret it.
It's a nice little cute town, and it's also close to all the Charlottesville area stuff too. A lot of historic sites and those kind of things.
James Madison.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Montpelier.
Montpelier. So if you're looking for something to do on a great weekend, I think it's going to be 80 degrees.
Yeah.
Not quite fall yet. Be a nice thing to do.
And Barboursville Winery is nearby, which is a really good one.
And there'll be wine there. There'll be all types of stuff.
Yeah,
All types of food,
It's gonna be a fun event.
funnel trucks, all that sort of stuff. And Licata Group, we will have a tent there. We'll be having giveaways. It'll be just loads of fun. Come by and see us. And you'll be one of many, and I promise you won't regret it. If you regret it, you come to me, and I know you won't come to me because you won't regret it. So that's first thing coming up. I know the Licata Group has on Halloween Saturday.
Yeah, I think it's in October.
October 29th or
Yeah,
somewhere in that
yeah.
neighborhood. That we have a wine event at Wilderness Vineyards right here in Spotsylvania County, only about less than a mile from where I live. We'll be hosting again a fun day. There'll be face painting and pumpkin painting and wine and food truck. We usually have a great
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
Everybody comes to that. That's just a great place, great local place, because in this area there's so much to do.
Yeah.
That's why people love living and moving and working here, because there's just so much to do in the Piedmont area of northern central Virginia.
Yeah.
The Piedmont region of northern central Virginia. So
Yeah.
we're not too far from Charlottesville, not too far from
Culpeper.
DC, Culpeper, Fredericksburg, Richmond, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the other thing I wanted to mention, Labor Day just passed, and people think the summer's over. But when you live near a lake, the summer is extended.
Till
And
November.
our weather is really nice. Will continue to be nice. I mean, the kids are in the water till the end of October here in this area. But our Licata Group team, we give boat tours for no cost. Whether you're a client, whether you live in the area, you just want to have some fun, you call us, arrange. We give boat tours. It's fun. We have one boat on the small lake and 3 or 4 boats on the main lake. So there's always someone available. But it's best to book that in advance. It's best to book that in advance. And you don't want it to be a rainy day. Unfortunately, when summer ends, we start to get that fall rain that sort of helps the trees start to change over. But we love giving boat rides, but we want it to be on a nice sunny day, or even if it's a cloudy day, as long as it's not raining.
Well, the water doesn't get frozen until maybe January, February in this area, so people still boating until December.
Yeah, our water, rarely does it freeze. Sometimes the coves freeze, but lately, they have this heat wave going on.
Yeah.
So what do they call it? Climate changes and all that.
Yeah.
We haven't seen too much of the freezes, but anyway, still you a lot of fun. I shut my boat down. I have a boat. I shut my boat down the first week of December. I winterize it,
Okay.
and I started up again
April,
the end of March.
end of March, April.
The end of March, and the end of March. And my wave runner, my jet ski. I'm jet skiing around till the end of November. I rarely fall in the water. I don't fall in the water off the jet ski. So, Michael's here to talk about the market, the economy, the financial side of it. I would just tell you a couple things. One, the peak is past. The peak is past. So, prices are still holding high. Prices are still strong. If you bought your house here, it's going to sell for here for the most part. I mean, for the most, if you've been in the house a few years, you're going to do well. It might not be here. It's not. We're not seeing craziness, but we are. If you bought your house a couple of years ago, you're doing well. It's just how well you're going to do. It's still a very very seller oriented market. Um, we have seen a couple changes where maybe you're getting one good offer or two good offers instead of seven or eight or nine. We are seeing homes that they're getting inspections. Often, inspections are happening.
Mhm.
We're even starting to see some home sale contingencies. People who've been sitting on the sideline saying, I can't even compete, I have to sell a home, they're coming into the market. So we're seeing a little bit of that. But it's still advantage seller. But it's starting to get a little more normal. I would say more normal. And for the first time in many, many, many months, pending home sales. So a pending home sales is my house is under contract. It hasn't settled yet, hasn't completed, it hasn't gone through settlement. And inventory. For the first time, pending is well below inventory. Inventory is still not great. So like in my community right now, there's 32 homes that are going to be on the market or on the market for sale, and there's 15 pending. It had been 45 pending, 10 on the market. It had been like this. Now it's shifting this way. That tells you things are changing. That's not bad. It's just more normal.
It's normalizing.
So what are you finding? You're seeing people compete for mortgages. You're seeing contract offers, accepted contracts. What are you seeing?
The contract's getting accepted with some closing costs lately.
Closing costs.
Closing costs. Sellers are paying closing costs. Now, back in 2019, the rates were on high fours. And the inflation was peaking a little bit back then. And then
What was that now?
2019.
2019.
Yeah,
What was that?
rates are on high fours.
High fours.
High fours. And people were just going, crazy. It's like, God, it used to be, 3%, now it's high. But people still bought houses. And those people who bought houses in 2019 at higher rate, they got a chance to refinance in 2020 and 2021. But they also got 40% appreciation in those 2 years with the higher rates. And, currently, the Case-Shiller and the economists are saying that we're looking at 5 to 10% appreciation this year, even in a slow market, with the interest rate high it is. 5 to 10% is really good considering national average is 2 and 4.
Between 2 and 4%. Historic average across the country, 2 and 4%.
So the rates are between 5 and 6% currently, government and conventional loan. And back in 1982, it was 16% at high inflation.
My first home was in 84, I think, and then we were at 12%, 12.5%.
You know why you got 12% in 84?
Why?
Because in 81, the inflation was high, and then we had a double dip recession between 82 and 83, and the rates went from 16 to 12%, or whatever that was. So we're going through the same cycle currently. So our inflation's high. Now, so we're going to hit a recession within 12 months. So if you buy now, while the house is still appreciating, even with the higher interest rate, people are so afraid of this 5 to 6% interest rate, which shouldn't be. you're gonna get more equity. Buy, and then you have a chance to go down on a mortgage payment. Now rent will go up, but what's the chance of a mortgage going down by refinancing from 6% to 4%? That's about $400-500 difference.
Well, typically at the end of a recession, rates drop a point
Hmm.
to a point and a half historically.
And then, but right now our inflation is off the chart. Economy's still doing well. And when Fed start raising rates, now when Fed starts raising rates, that does not mean interest rates. Okay. When Fed last time decided to raise 3/4 of a point instead of half point, mortgage rate got really better. Because what that means is the Fed's trying to curb the inflation into recession. Mortgage rates love recession. They hate inflation. Okay. So, I've been telling people when you buy a house right now, and like same people I told them back in 2018 and 19, don't pay too many points to buy down your rate because you save that money because you're not going to get that money back because you'll have a chance to refinance. And the history of the chart will show you recession is always followed by inflation. Now, prices still low and the rates get better next year, the house price is going to go up more higher. So this is the ideal time to buy the house, just like 2018 and 19. A lot of people don't understand that concept because you got the supply and demand. Right now it's curving a little bit. When the rates get lower, supply and demand goes up, and then the
But
price
Mike,
goes up higher.
if you're a young kid, a young professional, a new to the market, age 25 to 35, say,
Millennials.
all you've seen is 2 to 3% rates. Even though you and I have seen 12% rates or 6% rates or 7, it's still a little shock when you're thinking, hey, I'm going to pay 1,500 a month, and all of a sudden it goes to 1,900 a month.
Hmm.
It's easy for us to say, and I understand it rationally, but it's still tough for those younger first timers.
It is. It is. Even not the first timers, but even the experienced buyers.
Yeah.
You know, but it's the matter of explaining. What will happen and how you can combat. Just think about it. If you're young millennials, I did tons of loans for millennials this year. They're still buying. I mean, we got 6 millennials closing in, just in September, and their rates are like 6%. But if you think about the rent going up 8 to 10% a year, and house, if you think about it, your even the interest rate is 6%, your interest portion is still lower than actual rent. Even though your mortgage payment is 2,000, that $500 going towards principal. So
And you're writing off the rest.
yeah, millennials not when you explain that they're like, wow, that makes sense because they're smart. You know, we didn't have these when we were growing up.
No,
They
right.
do.
You know what I find? A couple things that I saw on either the internet or some of the podcasts that people we listen to. It's like I think it was Dave Ramsey who said, "Marry the house, rent the rate, or
Date the rate.
marry the house,
and
date the rate." I think
Yep.
Dave Ramsey said that.
There's a lot of people that said it.
So,
Yep.
so you can buy the house. The house is going to appreciate and
Yep.
be a good investment, and then the rate you
You
can
don't have you don't have
refinance.
to love it. You can always refinance down the road. I mean, if the rate gets better and then your income's going up, even new millennials, they're doing 15 and 10-year mortgages these days. They're smart. They're like, I don't want 30-year mortgage. I want 15-year because I want to pay it off by the time I'm 35 or 40.
I've always just paid a little extra every month.
Hmm.
Got the peace of mind of the 30-year
Hmm.
mortgage, and I just pay it off. I don't.
Yeah.
I've owned a lot of houses over the years.
Yeah.
I've never paid. I've paid them off. I've paid
Yeah.
some off, but I've never got 30 years in a house.
I never liked 30-year mortgages. I always did like 15 or 10. Um, but if you're disciplined enough to make that extra payment, then you're okay. But a lot of people are not disciplined like
I've
you are.
been. We've always been disciplined. Knock on
Yeah.
wood.
A lot of people are not disciplined like that. But here's the concession. Now, there's a 20-year mortgage. There's a 25-year mortgage. People don't know that. There's 30, 25, and 20.
Just got to ask the question.
Just gotta ask a question and have, write, mortgage loan officers give you some, insight into what's available out there. Lately, everybody is just saying, hey, you're done through here, this will be the best for you, and you'll take it. They don't go out of their way to explain the things that, all the details that are involved with it. So you need to be careful with who you're working with, and then if they don't give you a detailed breakdown of what's available, then I will seek a second opinion.
So that's to that point, as part of our process, as part of our service offering, we have what I call suppliers or vendor relationships. We have a relationship with Summit on the mortgage side, and we refer them. And the reason we refer them is because we know they will do a good job for the people we refer to our clients. We know that if they say something, they'll be truthful to help them and explain enough to, and ultimately get it across the finish line. So when he talks about stuff like that, taking the time to talk to the clients and educate, whether they be first-time home buyers or
repeat home buyers.
Even
the repeat home buyers, they don't really fully, I work with CPAs and, people that are in number field, and they're still intimidated by mortgages. And these are people who work on numbers all the time, but they just have there's a misconception that mortgages are really difficult to understand. But it's really simple. People talk to the right person, basically. And, like my daughter bought a house, townhouse last year, and she's like, oh my God, my payment's $300 more than what I want it to be. I said, well, you work on that, you're not paying that. You rent, with the rent the way it is, you're not going to be, you're not going to have the luxury of getting appreciation on the property. Real estate is still the best, investment you can make. And so she bought it, even with the higher payment. Her house went up $80,000.
Well, the other thing that I saw recently, it was a snippet, was you're paying a mortgage whether you're a renter or whether you own the house. You're paying a mortgage. Just when you're a renter, you're paying someone else's mortgage.
Yeah, it is.
So you're doing it for someone else.
It's 100% interest when you rent.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So, right now, if you think 5 and 6 is bad, 5 to 10 years from now, if our economy booms, which it will, then you'd be looking at 8 to 10%. So, you gotta be careful. I mean, waiting for the rates to get better is not a good reason to wait. You have to think about the whole economy part of what you're gonna save. Right now, everybody's been losing stock for a whole year. Yep. I think the average amount that people lost in 401k is about $80,000.
16 to 20%. The stock market's been fluctuating.
Crazy. Real estate, still positive?
Still positive. Yeah, people are saying, well, I'm waiting for the real estate to de-escalate.
It's not going to de-escalate.
It won't appreciate as much. Maybe not grow. It'll still grow. It just won't be like a rocket.
Yeah, people also think that we're going to have the 2007, 2008.
It's a total different market.
It's a totally different market.
Total different
we're not going to have those because back in 2003, the house prices were going up 120% a year. And I was like, back then, I was like, this cannot sustain it. And then plus they had all this, what they call liar's loans, steady income and all that. And then, those kind of made market crash even harder, supply and demand.
But Michael, so many people have an opinion on this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you believe? Do you believe your neighbor, or do you believe the professionals? Who do you believe?
I always go with the professionals because everybody's got.
When I go to the doctor, do I go to the doctor or do I go to my neighbor?
You go to your neighbor.
I got a headache. I've been around you. I'm getting a headache.
You go to your neighbor.
Should I ask my neighbor what the problem is, or
he's gonna tell you dig up some worms and cook it and eat it for your good health?
Yeah, that's great. There's a lot of information out there. We know it is a challenge with all the information that you can get from this. An educated consumer is a good consumer,
mm-hmm.
but it's just what's best. Ultimately, we're gonna find out, like we always do.
Mhm.
And you know what happens?
Mhm.
Historically,
It-
what the
num-
best, what the most stable investment
It's the real estate,
is real estate.
and numbers don't lie.
Yeah, I can't eat my Microsoft stock. I can't eat my IBM stock. I can't live
No,
in my airline stock.
no,
You know, but
real estate.
I could live in my I
Real
could
estate.
cover.
I mean, having a bunch of investment properties, and I don't think I would have made money in stock market in short period of time as I made in real estate. But things change. But I just think it's a great time to buy. Since you start getting the closing costs, even the rates are high, it's not that high. I mean, 5 to 6 should be norm if in good economy without any issues. I mean, last 2 years we've seen 2.25 due to COVID crisis, and then we are at the lowest foreclosure level.
Yeah.
Right now. 2021 was the lowest at 65 million or something, 66.5 million or something. That was because they had to stop foreclosure act government put out. But if you look at this year, after that's over, we're still way below average. So we're not going to have a crash. I think house prices will go up like 5 to 8%. In this area, I would probably say 10% because Northern Virginia is coming down here. I mean, Culpeper
Northern Virginia.
is Northern Virginia. Part of
And,
Northern Virginia.
and Fredericksburg.
Yeah. And also, I'm teaching a CE class for the realtors tomorrow at FAR building about interest rates and economy. And
So if there's any realtors listening in today, you want to give a plug for that?
Yep, it's about economy and the interest rate and what affects the interest rates. And it'll be at FAR building from 9 to 10. It's a C credit course. FAR. I did a class for that for FAR a few months ago, and then they loved it so much they want me to do it again. So.
Well, nice. Well, we appreciate you coming in today.
And I just work with a good group like the Licata group, and then surround yourself with professionals, not the scammers or people with too much opinions.
Well, we appreciate your opinion.
Okay, great. I appreciate your opinion.
Take care. Thank you so much.
All right.
LicataLive is out. Now.
Perfect.